Hello, hello, friends. Welcome, welcome. Long time no see. So, I saw a lot of you this morning in Jamie's live chat as she created with the brand new to market Ultimate Accordion mini album die set and the Making Memories stamp set. So I'm really, really excited for this release. It's been a long time in the making, and I love mini albums. And I feel like this one in particular is really, really wonderful for anyone who might be a little bit more new to making mini albums. Because it's the hinge style, the hinge mechanism on this is like super duper easy. And to be quite honest, I've been making accordion hinge albums for a while now. This isn't something, it's not a binding mechanism that I came up with. And you can do it without any specialty dyes, but the hardest part and the reason why I haven't made one recently is because cutting this slot, the work that this die does is just a game changer for me because that was always the hardest part about making one of these styles of albums. And so I'm really excited for that. And I did, and you'll see the samples that I created. I did design this die set and the stamp set so that there's plenty of crossover for our little view card makers as well. Because the two largest dies, the two rectangles, these are A2 aspect ratio. So you can use them as mats and layers on your A2 cards. So, so that's really hopefully gonna help you get the most out of your dies. And same thing here where the little Polaroid stamp, it's actually a separate, so place photo here is not part, this is not one stamp. So place photo here is one stamp, memories is one stamp, and then the what's it called? Polaroid frame is a third stamp so that you can frame up your cute little critters. You can do a lot with this for your card making as well as for your mini album making. So, thanks everybody for joining. What's the weather like where you're at? Cause boy, it is. I'm gonna be fanning myself. I don't know if you can hear it on the mic, but whew, it is warm here. So here's my plan. I I'm gonna make an album from beginning to end. I haven't done anything. No AC. My house was built without AC. So it's not that we're being stingy and not turning it on. We do not have air conditioning, like central air conditioning in our house. So like the only my husband has one of those window units, and I think he has a standalone unit because he's hot like year round. Me, I tend to be cold, but even I am very hot right now. Um, and oh, 83 and oh, thunderstorms. I hope you don't lose any power or anything like that. Oh my gosh, I just got the notice that American Crafts, their website is down due to weather. So they've been having some weather. Um, Hi, Jeanette. Welcome. I'm really loving these sets, Lynn. Thanks so much. That's so sweet of you. I'm really excited for this set because it's been a hot minute since I made a mini album. Check my YouTube channel. I actually don't know when the last time I've made like other than using like maybe the cinch to make an album. It's been a while since I've done like a hand bound album. So if you're not familiar, an accordion hinge album is, it looks a little something like this. This is what you can make if you're just using this in the most sort of basic ways that it was designed. Today I'm going to do something a little different. But the reason why this might seem like a very familiar size is because it's actually an A2 size. So if you look at an A2 card base, that's basically what I started with for my album pages. And if you go to purchase the die set, it will come with the option of adding a masterclass, and it's the masterclass where this is the album that I teach you how to make in the masterclass. Now, I'll admit I don't like cover 100% of every minute that went into making this album, because it's albums, you want to take your time, you don't want to rush it. But what I do go over is every time I'm doing something like new or different, I make sure to cover that, and I teach it in real time. And so you'll learn how to create your page bases. You'll learn how to do the binding, the accordion hinge binding, and then you'll learn some different techniques for decorating your pages and adding photos to your pages. So simple things like maybe just, using some ephemera to create tuck spots, using the included photo corners to create a photo mat that you can then slip your photos into, using the included dies to create a pocket and a tag that you can then use for like a bit of captioning. This features the stamp set and different ideas for decorating the hinge so that you're using it as a feature, as opposed to like, oh, that's just how it's made and look at that weird thing in the middle there. And then slightly more advanced things like making a custom photo mat. So this uses the same photo corners, but it's matting a photo that's 3x4. I'll show you how to use the dies that allow you to create a paper brad so that you can have fun swinging mechanisms in your album. And for sure, you can use those in your card making too. And just different ideas. So you can see these kind of replicate a lot of the same things, right? So I probably don't teach you how to make this particular spread, or these, because it's a lot of the same. But I do teach you how to make this and make it so that you can basically add a brad anytime after the fact. But this I thought was a cool idea because like you could have it look nice and pretty like this and then swing it out, and then you could write your little captioning there. Because I don't have the best handwriting. So like this I thought might be cool if like you don't have the best handwriting, you could like write your little caption and then you just like cover that right up until somebody wants to look at it and read the little bit of caption that explains the photo. So I thought this was one of my favorite things about this particular album, because I just thought it would be a really neat idea to have it actually be like it is practical because it is helping to hold down, the photo, but I think it has another sort of practical purpose of, being a little bit of a reveal for like the hidden, the behind the scenes story, or, the little caption for whatever is describing the photo. So so I thought that would be a cute idea. Now, for a lot of the mini album masterclass series, I actually left, this was the initial back cover of my album, and one of the things I talked about was that with this style of album, you can actually leave the back unattached. If you caught Jamie's video live stream this morning, her front and back cover, she hadn't yet glued down the binding strips, and if you leave it open, I had it open and tucked in here, like this is also on a hinge to help hold down what used to be, the little tail flap here, which I'll show you once we start making our album today. But you could leave it open, and then that way you can continue to add more pages. And I will show you in one of the masterclass segments how to extend your album hinge, your binding hinge, to make it basically as long as you want it to be. And then when you're ready, you can finally like glue that down. And the hinge itself, you can either do as I've done here, where it's a bit of a like a feature where it's a different accent color, but Here's an option where using the exact same die set, like if you look at this and I flip through it, do you notice something? What's different about this one? No hinges. So this album looks a lot like maybe a standard album that you might make, and there's everything's hidden. The hinges are hidden. Because I use the same color, it's, you know, obviously the same binding technique, but because I use the same color as the page bases, it's a lot more it's a lot more blended into the card or the page base. So you can go anywhere from not seeing those hinges at all to this one where flip every other page turn has a hinge, or on the other end of the spectrum, every page turn has a hinge. And I talk you through in the masterclass series how exactly, if you can't already guess it and it's not immediately obvious, I talk you through those options for how to set up your page bases so that however you want to present your album, you can choose what you want. Now, the other thing that maybe I'll do today in my albums today is that I didn't make good use of it, but you can turn another really common thing with albums is making pocket pages, so that you can tuck in more photo mats, you can tuck in memorabilia, things like that. Depending on the cardstock that you use, this lay is really flat. You can see how flat that is. It's not a super chunky album. This is with 65-pound cardstock. So lay is really super duper flat. This one, a little chunkier. It's got more pages for sure. The page bases are assembled a little bit differently. So you get a ton more pages, and the base itself is 110 pound. So you get a little bit of this action going. So now, one thing to be aware of with an accordion hinge binding technique is that there's no gusset. So you're not going to really be able to use your like super chunky embellishments or make shakers or anything like that for your albums, which is definitely a really cool thing for albums. But if you're gonna do really dimensional things like that, this really isn't the binding technique for you. But it is a super fast and easy way to make an album that a lot of you in the chat have already said, would make for great gifts, would probably sell well, I think, at a craft fair. It's not a lot of paper, and it doesn't take a lot of time to do. And so I'll actually show you how to do it and just how easy it is, because this morning when Jamie live streamed, her album base was already created, and I'll be starting 100% from scratch. So, hey Lorelei, welcome friend. I'm glad that you all are getting the masterclass and that you're finding it helpful. Yeah, Leslie says I like it when it blends seamlessly. Yeah, me too, because kind of feel like it looks more like a traditionally bound mini album, you know what I mean? Like where you don't really see the binding. So I think that's a really neat option. Maybe we'll do that for our album today. Now, if you're making an A2 size album like these, the die that does all the heavy lifting is this one here, and it's it makes it super duper fast and easy. But today what I thought I would do is I'm actually going to do a 5x7 album. And one of the reasons is because I have a boatload of these pre-made 5x7 card bases. And hi Brittany, welcome. And so one of the cool things about this is you can turn card bases really of any size into an album. And so that's what we're going to do today. Oh, where can you order? That is a really good question. I had hoped that Streamlabs was putting links in, but if it's not, I can give you the link now, because it is available now for purchase. And you have a couple of options. You can buy the two items as a bundle. That's what I put the link in for. And if you do, then you'll actually get, I'm offering a $15 gift voucher to shop my website for printables. And so if you place your order, I forget what Jamie and I said the cutoff date would be, but if you place your order for the bundle, you'll get both the die set and the stamp set. And when Jamie ships your order, she'll give you the special coupon code to shop my website, which is lvhandcrafted.com, and you can get some printables. It'll be a $15 gift voucher. So, okay. All right. See you, Barbara. Have fun. Alrighty. So, I can talk a little bit more about like what all comes included in the die set if anyone has questions. But I did release a video this morning that goes through in pretty good detail what all dies come in the set. I'll give you a quick overview. You're gonna get some photo mats, and actually this in the hot yellow is a die that you can actually use to cut your photos. If you're loading the album with photos, you'll get two sizes of tags with hole reinforcers. This is part of the binding mechanism. This is the locking strip. You'll have a word die smile, the pocket plus its layer. So where you see the different colors, there's actually a different die cut. So with the tags, they both have the tag and a layer on top. And this makes it good for like little captioning as well. And you'll have this die here, which you're gonna see put to use today. And that cuts your slot into your page bases. And then we've got two photo corner dies and the paper brad system. Now, heads up, I'm gonna make this album, but I'm not gonna finish this album because albums take a good chunk of time to do. So what this live stream will end up being is likely a series. So, because we're doing everything from scratch in real time. And so, likely, maybe, tomorrow or each day this week, possibly, I'll perhaps live stream until we get this done. So, what I thought I would do is, make a 5x7 album. I've got some card bases. I think maybe I'll start with 4. I kind of feel like that's plenty, of pages, but we'll see. I've got my Canon selfie printer here. So this is a 4x6 dye sublimation photo printer. It's really, really cool. Started picking out some photos. My niece graduated just last Friday, and so I thought maybe I could make a little keepsake album, either for her or maybe for her parents, so that it's like in an album because they're as most parents are, very selfless. I don't think they would make albums for themselves, but they do make keepsakes and things for their kids. So maybe I'll make it for them. So we'll see. Aw, thanks, Von Marie. Yeah, thanks, Vicky. A mini album series, definitely. Okay, I showed you the 3 albums, and I don't know what was going on in my brain, but when I made, if you are, when I made this was my first one. I didn't record my video of me making this, so I don't have a tutorial for this. And then this one, if you join me for Hobby School's Creator Summer Camp, my class, I teach this album. So there is a tutorial for this, but it's only for Hobby School Summer Camp attendees. And this one, there won't be a video for, and then I haven't made another one yet, so this live stream will serve as a video. Okay, the other thing that I'm gonna do, and I've got this printer out here so that when if we have downtime, I might be looking for more photos to print. I'm gonna use some papers from Biddy Penny. So I don't know if you guys saw Biddy Penny's video this morning, but we actually have three amazing guest designers who shared some projects this morning. They posted videos. It's a little flip through of the album that they made. And Biddy Penny is one of our guest designers this month. And you all know Toby is so good with junk journals and album making and things like that. So she does produce digital papers and physical paper pads that you can purchase. And the reason why I thought I would pull these out, not just so that I had a nice introduction to Biddy Penny's guest design spot, but mainly because her papers are 6x8. So if we're doing a 5x7 card, it's going to be really nice to have these larger papers to, if I wanted to go like full, I could do that. So I thought this would be perfect, the perfect size for my album today. And I'm gonna, I really like, I might mix and match between these because some of them have good crossover in terms of color palette. But I just really love, I love the papers here. I'll have to look through them to see, to see which designs will fit really nicely on as a part of the page base, because if I remember right, some of her designs are like conveniently split in half like this so that you can get two card front panels from that. So I'll see how many are actually, and then these are nice cut aparts. So some of these, I think, see how these would be really good little tuck spots and journaling spots. It's a gorgeous paper pad. So we'll see what I might end up using for it. And then this one is this is page turner. Oh, see, look how gorgeous that is. So I thought this would be really, this one might have more prints that are the full 6x8. So we'll see. I think for sure I'll probably use that one. Yeah. Look at that. That's pretty. Look at these scenes. Oh my gosh. I don't know what this has to do with like graduating high school, but they sure are pretty. Well, she's studious, so books and whatnot. So I think these are gonna be really, really lovely. Oh, this one would be good as well. I think that could work. So those are sort of the full page designs. And there's like a couple. I don't mind if some of the pages repeat a little bit, so that'll be good. So we'll figure that out when we get there. All right, so I'm a little bit curious. Maybe I'll do a poll. I'm kind of curious how many people have made a mini album before. So let me start a poll. Have you ever made a mini album? We'll just keep it simple. Yes or no. So type 1 in the live chat if you have made a mini album, and type 2 if you have never. Alright, so the first thing I want to do for my mini album today is prepare my page bases. Now, the other reason why I wanted to do this as a 5x7 is because I actually want to show you something in particular that um, it didn't occur to me until after the masterclass, because I have a large format die cutting machine, and so size of dies don't really pay super close attention to it, because I can cut basically anything, everything on my large format. But if you only have a 6-inch die cutting machine, there might be some considerations that you might have. So the 5x7 size of album will really help me to illustrate that. So when we start this, one option is missing. Have you started but not finished one? Me. Camera, that's so funny. I just got that. Where's my dies? Oh, here they are. I mean, I know it's sitting there, but I've got an open one here. Okay, this is the die that's gonna do a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to creating your album. Now, if you are making an A2 size album, I don't have a blank card base. Let me get a card. Any A2 card would do. Let me find. So if you are making an A2 size album, okay, here's an A2 card base. If you were gonna make an A2 size album, you would take this die, and if you look at the die itself, it's got the slot, it's got a score line, and it's got fishtail banner ends. So why does it have the fishtail banner ends? The reason is because the length of this die from tip to tip is actually 5.5. That's why it makes it so easy for you to take like your card bases, especially if you tend to buy pre-made card bases. Makes it super easy for you to get this perfectly centered because the die is 5.5. So all you have to do is line up the tip on one end, the tip of the banner on one end, the tip of the banner on the other end, and then you're good to go. Now, why this has the slight indent with the fishtail is so that when you're die cutting like this. So now how do you know that you've got this right on your score line? The way you know is you gotta get that indentation right on your score line. And if you have that kind of that inside part of your fishtail right on your score line, then it's completely centered. Because if we made it without the fishtail, you wouldn't be able to see your score line anymore because it's exactly 5.5. You want to know how I know? Because we did that. And when I tested it and made that first album that I showed you, the red one, I went to go line it up and I was like, oh, where did my score line go? The score line. I mean, it's possible. So I made that first album by just doing this. Like I looked under this way and then like scooched it down. And then I looked under this way and scooched it down. But you can even see my markings where I asked Jamie, hey, we need them to do this. We need them to cut some metal out. So that's a little behind the scenes for you all. You have the good one. And now I do too, because Jamie sent me an updated die. Now, but what we're making today is a 5x7. So what do we do then? Well, the nice thing about this is the same thing applies. You can still line this up on your score line. The fishtail banner and will help you to line it up so that you just look for that indentation, and you want to put that indentation right where your score line is, and then cut. But the thing is that the slot needs to be exactly in the same spot on every single page base, so that when you string all of those pages together and they get bound together, you're not gonna have pages that like they'll all line up, you know what I mean? so so you definitely want that. And so we'll figure out how to make sure that as we're positioning our die from page to page, that we are consistently placing it in the same spot. Second, now this is what I was talking about with die cutting machines. If you're making a 5x7 card and you've got your page base open like this is my Sizzix, what's it called? Big Shot. And obviously you would need to either run your page through like this, but this is 7 inches and my plate is only 6 inches. Now, I didn't really think about that when I was testing, because I was using my large platform. However, I did do subsequent testing, and you can cut through both layers just by doing this. You just line your die up like that, folded, and you can run it through. And I'll show you that in a moment. This will work. I made my second album this way. So, but even though I did test well in advance to know if it can cut through 2 layers, there's a good practical reason why some of you might need to, because of the size album that you're creating. If you're doing an A2 size card, then cutting on a 6-inch is just fine, because you'll feed it through this way and it'll fit on your 6-inch perfectly okay. But if you're making a larger album, that is something to note. Okay, so we're gonna be cutting our slot, our hinge slot here, onto or out of, I guess, the 7-inch edge, and the die itself is 5.5 inches. So basically I need to measure like 3/4 of an inch down, and that's where I want to cut. So I don't want to have to measure every single time, so maybe what I'll do is this. Oh, look, this piece of scrap is, oh, that's convenient. Okay, this piece of scrap is 1.5. I'm just gonna make myself a little bit of a jig. And trust me, if you've never made an album before, this die set is definitely gonna make your life easier. It's one of the simpler binding mechanisms. You can let me know if you disagree, because I see a lot of folks have made albums before. If you know an easier, more beginner-friendly binding, maybe the proper accordion album, not accordion hinge, that might be the only one that's like easier. So I'm gonna do this, and then in theory, if this is just a jig so that I can go like this, and then put my die like that, and then every single time I cut this slot into a page base, I can just push it up against my jig, and it's going to be cut in the same spot. Now, even if it's not centered, it'll at least be cut in the same spot on all the pages, and that's more important than it being centered, because then when all of the pages are bound together, they'll be bound in the same spot, as opposed to, you know, the slot ends up there, and there, and then you end up with an album with like pages going up and down, which we don't want. So now, if you're taking this method of using a 6-inch platform, basically what you want to do is, I'm going to use my jig here and some tape, because things tend to, I don't know, I feel like dies move whenever I go to die cut. So what I want to do, and sometimes it's actually easier cutting blade up for positioning. Sometimes it's easier to do it cutting blade up. So I'm just going to move this until this is basically the fold is on the score line of the die. So once it looks like it's there, I'll go ahead and tape it down. Low tack tape. Remember, it's just the slot that's going to get cut. This part will get scored, but it's so it's your die won't cut through the score line. Don't worry about that. So you can see basically half of that slot is visible, which is what we want since this card is folded. And then I just want to if you want to double check your positioning, I'll just put my jig back on. You can see I got the tips right onto right below my jig. And the jig I'm just using for, just for positioning. Now, when you go to cut, I'm going through 2 layers. So what I want to do is I'm going to use the normal plate combination for die cutting because I tend to use my magic mat. It's a little softer and it is also a little bit less pressure, but this needs to go through 2 layers. So I'm going to use their normal cutting plate. And the other thing is, if you are cutting like an intricate die cut, you also want to cut with the cutting blade face up. That also helps. Hi Shelly, hi Nikki, welcome friends. Okay, so let's get this going through my big shot. So we're gonna have to do this like a couple times. As many pages as I plan on needing for my album is how many times I'll need to do this. And you can see it cut the slot out. I know it looks like it just hardly did anything, but trust me, that is all it needed to cut out, is just that slot right there. That's what we need for our binding. So I'm gonna keep doing that, and let me know if you have questions, if there's anything about the die that you would like to see close up, because this is just going to be a lot of die cutting until we get enough pages to start our album. Now after I cut all of these, maybe I'll use my electronic machine for the rest. So if you're doing this and you have a larger platform machine, what you can do to position this is open this up, and then you can get your, as I said, the center of the die is denoted by that like fishtail. So once you get that nice and centered, and I'm only needing to use this jig because I'm making a different size album. If you're making an A2 album and you're doing it the orientation that I did it, you are good to go. I think Debbie Alley, who is Project 39 Cards, she is also a guest designer, and I think she made her album landscape oriented. So I thought that was kind of cool. Do you guys, album makers, because I see a lot of you, 77% of you have made albums. Do you tend to make your albums portrait or landscape? Let me know. Oh my gosh. Can you guys hear that? Is that not my machine? Die cutting machine sounds like it's struggling. Portrait, portrait, portrait. Oh, Carla makes them landscape. I know, it sounded so crazy. I don't know why. It's not like, I don't think it's a lot of pressure. Now, make sure you're popping this bit of cardstock out every time, because you don't want that cardstock accumulating in your die. You're not going to get a good cut next time. So if the sound is like bothering folks, I'll mute myself when it goes through the die cutting machine again. Because I'm just doing more of the same. Just doing this. And there we go. It sounded like it was farting. You know what I think it is? Look at my mat. It's all like, it's super warped. So I'm wondering if because it's warped, it's like making weird sounds because it's like uneven. Get ready, friends. It's gonna happen again. I've got the Gemini. Oh goodness. Half and half with portrait versus landscape. Oh, Reagan, you make them probably to sell too, right? What do your customers tend to prefer? I'm gonna do I don't know, maybe I'll do 5. Let me do 5 of these card bases. Just, oh no, I'll do 4. We'll just start with 4. I think that's a good place to start. Beans is what's for dinner. Hey, there's no reason to stop using it, Alyssa. I think it's a weird, I think it's just my thing. See, look how warped it is. I'm gonna try to unwarp my magic mat and see if that helps. 'Cause I bet that's the reason why it's sounding so gross. Oh, you know, yeah, I don't know. Alright, I'm gonna start with 4 of these page bases, and then we're gonna do the now I can't stop thinking about it being a horse that's farting. We'll do the hinge. I don't know what my machine's been eating. Okay. So that is that die for you. Okay. Now, so pop that out. Okay. Let me show you how to bind all of these pages together. Now, what we're gonna need as well is locking strips. But before we get to the locking strip, I'll need this die eventually. That's for the locking strip. There's one die that I did not include in this die set, and you know, the reason for that is because it's a super duper easy cut, and I hope you all will agree that it was well worth adding the other stuff as opposed to a die to cut the hinge, the actual accordion hinge. um, Bye, Brenda. Have fun. Have a great day also. So here are our... Okay, let's see how good we... Let's see, did we do good on with our little jig here? So... I think we did pretty good. It's all lined up. Maybe... There we go. Okay. I think it's pretty good. It might be a little... This one looks like it's... Yeah, that's better. So, see how all the slots line up? And this one's the one that was cut while it was folded, so it's like super, super flat because it it got super flattened, which will happen when you run a folded card through. Okay, so when we go to make our accordion hinge, what color do I want? I guess let me make the hinge a different color from the card base so that you can see it. I'll do craft. I kind of feel like craft in the middle of some of these prints will look pretty good. Yeah, so I'm gonna make the hinge craft. And then that way we can see it against the white. Really? There's a mini Empress Elite? Ooh, is it Leslie or Leslie? But tell me all the things. I love my mini Empress. Tell me what's different with, I didn't know that there was an Elite. What's the Elite? I need to know. Okay. So, thanks, Janet. So, our hinge, the accordion hinge itself, the binding strip, it's gonna start off with making a cut that is 2.5 inches by however long of a hinge you need. Now, I don't give you a precise measurement because this album could be as skinny or as chunky as you would like. And plus, you might like to do different things with your binding strip, including possibly wrapping it all the way around from the back to the front and having it even potentially have a closure. So that's something that I haven't done as a sample or a tutorial. So I might do that. Well, this one I won't do that for because this one I think I'm gonna make a chipboard cover per Jamie's request. But in a future video, I definitely want to make one that has a wraparound closure. I think that would be really fun. So that's how it starts. You might need multiples. You might need more than just the one, just depending on how many pages you will ultimately have in your album. Now the next thing that you'll want to do is a series of scoring. And the scoring is going to be really easy too. So this is our hinge. So you can already see how easy of a cut that is. Just 2.5 inch strip. And it can be as long as it needs to be. I've just cut this to 11 inches just to maximize the length, and we'll cut it down to size if we need. Maybe we'll use it all, who knows. Maybe we'll need to add more. I know, right? Leslie needs to tell us all the things. Where did she go? I need the first Leslie. Leslie? Oh, I don't know which, I don't know what I said was the first. First she made the Empress, has a handle, then she made the Empress Elite. Both are large die cutting machines. This year she made the... Oh, you can cut 5x7. Ooh, I've got I've got this little one, which is like the one that can fit A2. But now she's got a 5x7. Oh, dang it. Don't make me buy another die cutting machine, Leslie. Alright, so first score line. Where does the first score line need to go? Now that really ultimately will depend on how you plan on using this, but your first score line needs to overlap with the first page in your first page base, which for the albums that I created as samples, those were the actual cover. Like this, my first page base of this was the very first page base, this right here. And that's the cover. And so for this, I took the binding all the way to the right edge because I used it as like a little bit of a decorative element on my cover. For something like this where it's all hidden, you know, my first page base, also my cover, but I only overlapped by about an inch because I knew that I would have pattern paper over it, and I'm trying to like minimize the visibility of the spine. So just depending on like what you want visible, how you plan to treat this, whether this is going to be your cover or not, that's going to determine how much of an overlap this binding strip needs to have. Now, where I used this as my cover and it was an accent piece, as I mentioned, I started it here and then my first score line was here. So basically 5 inches because this is 5x7. But with this album, I'm going to actually make a chipboard cover. So this won't actually be my cover. I'm going to glue something on top of this. So I only really need to overlap it by like maybe 1.5 or 2 inches. Not a lot. We'll say 1.5 inches, okay? So how did that get so bendy? Okay, so 1.5 inches, that's enough to glue to my first page base. Then for every single page base you want to add to your album, you need to score a set of 2 lines that are 1/2 inch apart from one another. So I'm going to score twice for every page I want to add, and each score line is 1/2 inch. So 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. I've got 1, 2, 3. I have 4. So I'm going to do that. Those 2 lines, I'm going to repeat that 4 times. So that was for one page base, my second page base, my third page base, and my fourth page base. Okay. Now, I always fold my score lines as mountain folds. It helps to preserve the strength of your cardstock. So this first fold is going to be a mountain fold. It's going to be like that on the outside, and then it's going to start to weave itself in between your pages. Now, if you're like me and you like to fold your score lines as mountain folds, you're going to need the scoring or the folding pattern is mountain, valley, mountain, valley, mountain, valley. And that's how we get that accordion shape. So wherever I need a valley fold, I am going to flip to the back, and every other line I will score from the back. So that's how I can get my valley folds and still preserve, you know, the strength of the card stock. So now that we've done our scoring, we can just fold. That first one was a mountain, then a valley, then a mountain, then a valley, mountain, valley, mountain, valley, mountain. So that's it. We'll give this a good, oh, Erica, that's so sweet of you. Thank you for the super chat. Now, when you score this, I went really fast just to show you how easy it is, but truthfully, you want to burnish all of these score lines as you're going. And then as you're going, you do also want to make sure that as you're folding it down, that it's all like, lined up. But you can kind of see it's an easy cut. This piece is easy to cut. It's easy to score once you know. It's easy to score. And it is also, it could be a big die if we had it as a die. It would take a lot of space. And not only would it take a lot of space, but also, the truth is that this piece needs to be as long as you want it to be. And so, I don't like putting a die in that cuts like a very specific size, because then I feel like sometimes maybe that gives the impression that that's the only size that you can make. And, oh, no way. I did not know that. Angie, oh, thanks for the heads up. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm crafting with something, that you can't buy anymore. Oh, what a bummer. Does she still have her digital papers though? I wonder. Elisa says you don't need it, Lynn. It's $3.50. But girl, I love my mini Empress. I use it like 90% of the time. So I use it so much. Oh, well, this is very true. I do need an ace. Girl, Erica, it was so hot in here. And my husband, I've been told by my husband that I have a voice that carries. So when I'm streaming, he can hear me from wherever he's at in the house. So he just actually closed my door. Okay. Let's see. This is our binding, everybody. So how cool is that? We're pretty much almost, we're not done, but we're getting there. So the way that this works is for each of these hinges, each of these slots that we've created, you just slot that hinge through your page base, and so now you can kind of see once that's in there, each one of these will have its own page. Now here's one thing I'm gonna play with, an idea on another, not this one, but another. I only want to play with like one new idea at a time. So today's new idea is a 5x7, but on a future new idea, maybe a live stream series, who knows, or at the very least a tutorial, like a sped up tutorial. What I want to play with is the idea of actually, remember how I said there's no gusset? I kind of want to play with the idea of, well, what if we score an extra line for a gusset? So, so that we can give ourselves like a little bit of space in between each page. But that's an idea that I need to play with before I really recommend it to you all, because this is how I learned how to do an accordion hinge album, and I want to stick to what I know before recommending things that that I haven't tried myself. I'm laughing because of this. Is that what you call a supportive husband? He's very supportive, but he's not wrong. My voice does carry. Yes, Ruth. Okay, I'm gonna pop these out. See, now without the blocking mechanism, your pages are all just gonna fall out like that. So your first score line, where do you put the first score line? You put it however much you want it to overlap your first page base, which could be your cover. So if you want it, all the way across, you can. All you really need is maybe about 1.5 inches. Leslie's so funny. I love you, honey, but then for every single page that you want to add, 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch, score 2 lines. 2 lines, half an inch apart. So for every page. So we want 4 page bases. I did that 4 times to create these hinges. Now, what we also will need is this die so that we can cut some locking strips. So I'm gonna do locking strips out of, I don't want to do locking strips out of this. If you're gonna do locking strips, I would do locking strips out of something like a little bit thicker so that it's a little bit stronger and can push through more easily. So let me see. Oops. Where is my, I hope I have some craft. Oh good, I do. I've got craft, but this is like 120 craft. So that's what I was saying, Ruth, that I want to play with the idea before I go around recommending it. But here's, you wouldn't score, okay, let's just do it. Lynn, let's just not talk about it. Let's just do it. So you've seen that. That one I can attest works. If we were to add a gusset, I'm flying by the seat of my pants now, friends. Okay, this is not tried and true, but we'll just see if it works. I have a pretty strong inclination it will. If you want each page to be like a little bulkier, by the way, this cardstock is maybe 80 pounds, okay? Which is fine for your hinge. 1.5 will start there still. Okay, now this is where scoring becomes a little trickier with your traditional hinge, like your hidden hinge, for example. I'm not gonna go overly bulky, I'll just go like a little bit bulky. And what I'll do is give it just 1/8 of an inch gusset between essentially your let me just get this. If we got this going in, so what you'll have is like 1/8 of an inch before it goes into the next, so you'll have a little bit of a gusset, but it won't be like consistently between every page. Hold on, let's just see if this works. So I'm gonna push that my previous score line to the 2-inch mark, and then now I'm gonna score my hinge to put my page base on, and then I'm gonna score 1/8 of an inch gusset, so that basically between each hinge there's gonna be a 1/8 inch gusset. Let's see if this works. If not, I'm going back to my other hinge. I'm kind of curious myself, so this is why we're doing it live. We can get these questions answered, right? So, wait, how many have I done? 1 page, 2, 3, okay. Last page. Last page. Okay. Maybe 1/8 of an inch. All right. Let's see what happens. Scoring on the fly with Lynn. Yup. I like that. Okay. So now we need, this will be a mountain. Hold on. Now I got, okay. I'm not gonna worry too much about proper folding. I just need these to be, that will be a mountain. That'll be a valley and a mountain. Oh yeah, this is gonna be good. Okay. Oh yeah, this will be good. All right, hold on, guys. Let me figure this out and then I'll explain. But I'm pretty sure this is working. But I'm not gonna do the proper folding. Oh yeah, okay. This looks promising. All right. This gusset business, I think, is gonna work. So basically what's gonna happen is I've got a fold that'll attach to my cover. This attaches to a page, and then see that little gusset, that 1/8 inch gusset? That's gonna give us a little bit of room between pages. And then that's gonna continue. So let's get a page in. Oh yeah, you don't need it on the very first one, because that's gonna glue down to your card, your front. Okay, you don't need that very first gusset. That'll glue itself down flat. Then we've got a little bit of a gusset here. Then we fold this and put page base number 2 on. And so now what happens is you're not going to have much room between these 2 pages, but you will have some room because there's going to be a gusset between, see how there's now that gusset between this page and that page. So between these 2 pages, you'll have some room for something like a little chunkier. So that's really possible. I like that. And here's the thing. If you take the option of hiding the hinge entirely, the way, which we might do with this album, the way you hide your hinge entirely is you glue these 2 together. And so now every page, ooh, I like how this is going. So then every page is going to have a gusset. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, well, thank you, Ruth, for making me take the time to go ahead and do this live. I was going to put it off to another day, but now we know. It works. It's a little bit harder to explain, you know what I mean? So I wanted to keep today kind of simple, but because I was already explaining how to adapt it for a 5x7, but I like that we went ahead and we covered this also. So I'm just gonna reinforce my crafty fun. No, I'm not selling those. Those are I made those myself with screen printing. It was a lot of fun. I have like 4 of them. But I haven't sold them. Let's see. Okay, this is cool. You know, I kind of feel like now I want to add a couple extra pages, but we can always add pages in a little bit. I'll just get this one started, so we can at least actually see. It will be much more practical. You can actually see what's going on, because the next thing is we need to put the blocking strip in so that those pages will stay in place. And I want something thicker. You know, did you not like what did you have for screen printing, Elisa? I don't do it that much, but I love the results of screen printing because it holds up. I used to do like vinyl, you know, what's it called, the iron-on vinyl and stuff, and it just doesn't last as long through the washing machine. So I tend not to do vinyl, and I feel bad because I've made like vinyl t-shirts like for my sister-in-law, and my guess is because I made her the same t-shirt that I made myself as a test, and mine is definitely peeling off, but my screen printed t-shirts are holding up just fine. Oh yeah, okay, good. So you didn't buy anything. Yeah, I just got one of those I think I got one of those screens from maybe Speedball. No, I don't have a speedball screen. I want a speedball screen. I think it's speedball. Um, there's some brand that does like a really nice top-notch one. I got a generic kit that's not expensive. Erica, you're working so hard for me to get an AC, girl. I do need to hustle a little bit more. I'm sweating. And I don't like I'm usually always cold even through the summer. I am always wearing like a sweatshirt or a hoodie or something even during the summer. Um but this heat we got going on here, I mean, we do have a heat advisory in place until I think tomorrow. So this is not normal for us. Okay. Oh, you did? You got the speedball ones? Nice. Yeah, Carla, I learned that the hard way that iron-on t-shirts don't last. Yeah. Is that 4? Oh, I can't count. That's only 3. So you need one of these for every page base you plan to have in your album. So... Oh, BG Grendola on Instagram. Are you also in the YouTube chat now? Sorry, I just saw your comment over on Instagram. I'm not doing a very good job of watching what's going on Instagram. Let's see. There's that. Okay. I think I've got enough for now. I'm gonna leave this tail long so we can decide later. And today probably won't be a lot of decorating. Maybe it won't be the cover either. I think the cover might be one of the last things I do. Okay, so what I want to do for sure though is I do want to stack these and make sure that the slots all line up. That's important because sometimes, I used my little jig, but I don't know that it was necessarily centered. I just know that it was consistent. So when you put one of these page bases onto a hinge, what you want to do is make sure you're pushing it all the way up in there, and then take a locking strip, and what you want to do is slide your locking strip through all the way out to the other end, so that now that's locked in there and that's not going to go anywhere. So we'll do that. Now, if you're making this album like an art journal, I really recommend, if you are an art journaler and you're making this as an art journal, that you leave the lock, don't glue anything down, so that you can leave it to do what I just did, where you can still pull that out, and then you can pull out your pages, do your little bit of art, let these pages dry and all of that good stuff, and then it won't mess up the other pages in your album, plus it'll be a nice flat surface to do your art onto, and then you can put it back in. But if you know that that's not something that you're planning to do, like once it's in, you're not going to be moving pages around, you don't think you'll be swapping things or changing anything like that, then you can definitely seal this so you don't see the hinge at all and you lose all access, or you can just glue it down and cover it with paper if that's what you prefer. So I'm gonna get all 4. Oh, and the thing is that when I designed the die, okay, hopefully you can see this. When I designed the die that cuts the slot, see how I've given you like a little bit of, there's a little bit of wiggle room. See how there's a little, about a 16th of an inch. So I made sure that when I designed that slot, it's slightly, just a smidge taller than the 2.5 that I told you to cut this at, so that it's easy for you to slot these through. It's not like a super tight fit. And plus, just depending, because sometimes if you're using really thick cardstock, you know, the folds might take up more room, and you just never know, because you might be using a really thick cardstock, and that's gonna change things a little bit. It might take up more room in here. But in any case, this just makes it a little bit like you don't have to be super perfect. And I like that, because none of us are perfect. So being able to just like have that extra little bit of wiggle room, it makes this really easy, because then it's not like exactly perfect. So we can slot things in more easily and more quickly. So there's that. My last page. Oh, this one looks off. Hold on. Okay, that looks more right. I don't think I'm centered, because when I had it in the other way, it wasn't lining up. So I must not be centered, but that's okay. Have you ever made a shirt using Mod Podge? Mod Podge? No, I haven't. Look. See how we got a gusset? That's neato. So you need if you want to make something a little chunkier. Oh my gosh, now that we have a gusset, maybe one of these live streams I'll do like a waterfall mechanism, because that does like a lot of layers. I wouldn't do that on the original without the gusset. Ooh, this is so cool. So everything's bound, all the pages are in, they're locked in. We have a gusset. Oh, you're still whooshing on the monkey wrench. That's so funny. I thought I turned that off. That's hilarious. Oh, hey, Amanda is here. Hi, Amanda, nerdy crafter. Okay, so, I might add more pages. I'm not too sure, but I do know this. So I think what I'm gonna do is, let me think about this for 2 seconds. I'm gonna change my plan a little. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Now, I am going to maybe do some more gussets, add a couple more pages, but this is gonna be the kind of album where I'm going to hide the hinge. We're gonna play hide the hinge. And especially since we're gonna do the chipboard cover per Jamie's request, and I'm gonna do a chipboard cover, and then I'm gonna do a wrap around the spine, and we'll even cover this, so that you don't see this part of the accordion hinge. And then we will. So then I think I'll want more pages. Okay, let me talk this through with you all so that you can kind of see. And when you're making your albums, you'll know what your choices are for setting up your page bases. So I used 4 card bases. If you wanted each of these to be a page in your album, you just leave it exactly as I have it. And if you leave it exactly as I have it here, then when you flip through, you're gonna see hinge, flip, no hinge. So you see no hinge because these are 2 different card bases, that we started with. Flip, hinge, flip, no hinge. That's how I made this one in the masterclass. If you're gonna do what I think I'm gonna do for this album, where we play hide the hinge, then what we want to do is every card base, instead of it being a card base that you would open and see the hinge, I'm going to glue those together, but I'll make it a pocket page. So then what happens is you turn, no hinge, glue together to form a pocket, no hinge, glue these together, no hinge. And we're going to keep going. So then you can see I'm going to have a lot fewer pages because I'm gluing two together to form a pocket and a single page. I'm going to have half the number of pages. So it kind of depends. That's why this one looks so chunky monkey, because I haven't glued any of the pages together. And in fact, that's why I used a thicker cardstock. I used 110-pound cardstock as my page bases, whereas with these two albums, I used 65-pound cardstock, because for every page base, I glued the two layers of 65-pound together. So that's then like as sturdy as one, sheet of 110. So this is why like I like to give you all the options but tell you also the papers, because if you were to do this with like 110, you're gonna have two layers of 110 glued together. It's gonna be really like thick. This is a pre-made card base, but my bet is it's like 80-pound. So I don't think it's gonna be super duper thick. And it's gonna be plenty sturdy, as pages. But because if I'm gonna glue them together to form pockets like this, I'm not gonna end up with that many pages. So I think I'm gonna end up scoring a little bit more. But we'll probably do that off camera, or we'll do that next time. I might start wrapping up this time. So with this, and I'm not gonna make any progress off camera. We'll do this whole thing live. But what I want to do to form my pocket page is this one. My cover is gonna be on this. My chipboard cover is going to be on this. So that's the inside cover. So I actually do not want this to be a pocket, because it's going to essentially be part of my cover. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll just glue this whole thing down shut. So now if you are making this for photos, you want to use adhesive that is acid free and archival safe and all that good stuff. Especially for anywhere that will touch, will have a photo on it. So can you use 6x12 to make a 6x6? Yeah, you can. You can make any size album with this. It's easiest for if you watch from the very beginning. It's super easy if you're making an A2 size, because the die makes lining up the slot really easy. But I just showed you how to do it for this 5x7. I like to use a little stamping acrylic block to tear my tape against so that I don't have to touch my tape. So I've picked up a lot of my habits, like as it pertains to how I handle my tape and how aggressive and how often I burnish, because of making albums. Because a lot of times if you're making an album, you're making it likely to last. Whereas with my cards, I truthfully don't care if somebody throws my card in the trash after they've enjoyed it. I really don't mind. Even interactive ones that, took a while to make, as long as they appreciated it at the time. But albums, especially if you're making them to put some memories into, or you've filled them with photos and you've given them, I think you're definitely making it with the intent that it gets saved. And so I've picked up habits for good adhesive handling, because the more you touch your adhesive, the it reduces its strength. So you want to try to avoid touching it as much as possible. Now, not necessary, but I'm gonna just scotch tape this hinge down. It'll become necessary for the pockets that I form, but And then also I burnish really well for that reason too. With a dry adhesive, when you burnish, you're pushing the air out, and in a lot of climates, like climates that are humid, like today is for me, but year round, that humidity can really mess with your dry adhesive tapes because it can actually make it dry out completely and lose its stickiness altogether. And then I also like to put a little bit of liquid adhesive, but I use the dry adhesive all the way to the edge so that I can get adhesive all the way to those outside edges. And the liquid adhesive I use for the permanence of it. But either whatever you're using, burnishing really helps because in the case of the dry adhesive, it's pushing that air out. And so it's just firming up the contact between the adhesive and the paper, and it's less likely to have air gaps that could potentially dry out completely. And in the case of a liquid adhesive, it's really helping you to spread that adhesive out so that it's really... Oh, a lot of your washi tapes have dried out? Oh, that's such a big bummer. Oh, that really sucks. Oh, I hate to hear that because I've got adhesive or I've got washi that's been sitting around for years. Wait, Elisa, you're Alabama, right? I think you're way more humid than where I'm at. So now look, or listen. Hear how chunky that, or how look. Listen to how sturdy that is. That can easily be like a really nice cover. But we're still gonna do the chipboard cover because there's been a special request for it. All right, now this next one, I want to make a pocket. This one I want to make a pocket because that was my cover will attach to this here. Inside cover, front page, and so we'll make all of the pages in between be pocket pages. Okay, so we're gonna turn this into a pocket page. What I want to do, I have a pet peeve. I don't know if you guys feel this way. If you like start sticking something in and then it hits this cardstock, it's gonna catch on there. It's gonna make it a little bit hard to slide something all the way down to the bottom. Now, that annoys me. So the quickest fix to that is you can tape over this whole thing, and that's just gonna make it smooth so that anything that needs to can just glide right over. So this is on the inside, no one's gonna see it, but now you go like this and no catch points, so go right over, no problemo. So the pocket pages, I don't like just using the dry adhesive because we talked about it losing its stickiness. So that's one thing. You don't want your pocket to all of a sudden not be a pocket anymore. But even absent that as an issue, the other little bit of a pet peeve I have is this thing, it's always like a little bit sticky, and it's very possible that you can stick something in here and it'll actually get stuck in that adhesive just like a smidge. And that annoys me too. I mean, these are such small things, but I don't know, they sometimes annoy me quite a lot. So so I'm gonna put a line. You could do only liquid adhesive if you want, but this is a big enough page. I don't mind losing pocket space for this thickness of adhesive. This brand of double-sided dry adhesive is score tape, and I absolutely love it. This is my favorite for mini album making. Now, to guard against my pet peeve of sticking like the corner of your page or something into dry adhesive tape and having it just catch a little bit, what I'm gonna do is liquid adhesive in this bottle is Barely Art Glue, which is archival safe. I'm gonna just put a line of adhesive just right on top. And you can feel that, you can feel the strip of glue and just ride that little bit of edge all the way down. And I heard and felt that I just touched my glue a little bit. So I'm just going to dot a little bit here too, just to strengthen that back up. So again, this gives you the permanence. Liquid adhesive gives you the permanence so that your pocket is going to stay closed as a pocket. If you want, you can just put a line of glue over your tape, double-sided dry tape if you want. Not really necessary, but it will help to just give it a little bit of that extra strength. And then we can close this card or this page base and burnish that really well. So many uses for Scotch tape. I know, Scotch tape is so useful. Maybe if it's super low tack, you could use it for your die cutting, Elisa. Or did you already say that? You might have already said that. All right, so we're 2 pages in, and I'll just continue going down. Now make sure if you are like taping this down, make sure that your pages are, because remember I said there's like a little bit of, you know, a little bit of wiggle. If you're taping stuff down, wiggle it to make sure it's lined up right. Because once it's taped down and the pocket is closed, it doesn't matter that I've made it with wiggle room, you're not going to be able to wiggle it again. So it doesn't really matter which end I'm taping this. I just want to make sure I get. Now, what I like to do before I get too far, give yourself, if you're doing pockets, make sure you know which page is up, which way is up, because when you start to decorate, you definitely want your, if it's top loading, you want that up at the top, and you don't want to start decorating, and accidentally flip your album. Okay, I keep rotating it, and now I'm like confusing myself. Okay, this is up. Oh my gosh, Lynn, that's up. All right. Okay, so, and I'm doing this on this side now, just to show that it doesn't really matter, because once it's closed, whether you applied it on this side or on the opposite side, it doesn't matter. Whatever is more comfortable for you. Oh, bye, Shelly. Where's my little thing? Oh, here it is. Okay. Now, I know Jamie told you all this morning during her live stream that it took her like 15 minutes to make her base, but and it's probably taken me a lot longer than that. But remember, I had to adapt the size to cut this slot so that we're cutting for a 5x7 album, and I also did that experimentation as per Ruth's request, because I was just going to do that experiment privately so that if it didn't work, I wouldn't have to mention it again. But inquiring minds wanted to know, so, and that's the benefit of being here live so that you can make me do these things live. But it worked out. So now we have a gusseted, so because I scored 2 hinges, because now we have a gusseted hinge and a non-gusseted hinge. No, it's sharp, Kathy. That's why I really like it for this. It's girl, this is from back in the day when they didn't believe or know about rounding things. you, you know, this is old school stamping blogs. So this is the set of 3. They didn't round it this way, they didn't round it this way, they didn't round it any which way at all. And I love it. I love them for it because it's great for this. Like especially the 1 inch is really great for this application. I very, very rarely stamp with this. I only do like background stamping, like, you know, when you do like an all over, make your own pattern paper, and I have like small stamps, so I'll like load these 3 up with different stamps. But if you watch me craft on my channel, I only use this to tear tape, pretty much. Like 95% of the time, it's just to tear tape. Okay. Let's tape this down. I feel like it'll be easier to work off of this. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was easy. They just chop, 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 put it in a bag, ship it off. I'll have to see if I have any like that in my stuff to sell boxes. Now it has a use. Oh no, I'm making you fish stuff out of your stuff to sell. Oh, sorry, I'm not really helping with your D-stash if that's a goal. This is why it's so hard to like D-stash, because, you know, you realize, oh, I could use that. Okay, there's that. And the only thing I might do off camera is I might make a couple more page bases, because I kind of feel like I want this. I think I want more pages in this album. Actually, you know what I'll do is I'll probably look through my niece's graduation photos and I'll just see how many photos I think I'll print. And then if I need more pages, that's one thing I might do before we meet up again to live stream, which might be tomorrow, same time, 2 p.m. Pacific. We'll work on this until we get it done. Until we get her done. But here's my goal though, is that in terms of like how I'm gonna approach the sequencing of what I cover in the live streams. So my thinking is that the cover, I tend to like to leave that to last, but I might not in this case, so that we can show that. I actually haven't made a cover the way that Jamie requested, so that's going to be another fly by the seat of my pants live stream when we get to that point. But what I might do is next time start to decorate a little bit and show you like the photo corners, how to use those. Maybe also do, oh, you know, one of these, since we've got the gusset, like I said, I think I might want to do a waterfall on one of these. I think that's gonna be fun. Oh yay, Reagan, you had a good D-stash? That's awesome. See, this isn't a lot of pages now that we've glued them together. That's our cover, front cover, like the title page, which I don't think counts as a page. And so you have 1 2-page spread, 2 2-page spreads, and then if this was it, that's the back cover. So I think I need, I think I want like a couple more page bases. But we'll do that. That's one good reason to kind of leave this open so that you have access to it. Now, I did glue stuff down, so it's going to be a little bit hard, but it's not going to be impossible. Let me show you that now, actually. Where's my... I guess we'll do it on, oh, there's, okay, let's do it on the small. Oh, you can't get the digitals either? Thanks for checking. Oh, what a bummer, because her papers are gorgeous. Okay. Okay, so here's what we got going on. We have we scored this so that there's a gusset. So what I told you before with this, it would have looked like that on the spine. Okay, so instead of the traditional accordion hinge being, you know, half inch, half inch, half inch, you just keep going half inch for every page you want to add. You have no gusset. You just have these peaks, right? So what we did today was we scored, or I scored, 1/8 of an inch, and then I scored my 2 half inch to form this hinge that we can put our page onto. And then I gave myself another 1/8 of an inch. So now if I want to add more pages at this point with this leftover bit, I'm glad I didn't cut it off, then I need to repeat that pattern. I would say that whatever you're scoring, whether you're scoring it this way or you're scoring it with gussets, I would keep it consistent so that especially if you leave this visible, that it you know, that it looks consistent. And I rather like the look of the gusset even on the spine. It looks kind of nice. It looks like a nice little feature. So I've got my 1/8 gusset. So now I'm gonna score. I'll put that in my track, that score line there, and then it's kind of hard. I just want to make sure it's in the right track or in the same track. So once that's lined up in a track, just want to make sure. Okay, then I want to go 2 half-inch lines. Let me put that in a track that makes it easier. Here we go. So that's my 1 inch. Okay. So then I go 1/2 inch. And then another 1/2 inch. So 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. That's gonna let me add 1 more page. And if I want to add 2 more pages, then I want to have another gusset. So now that I've got it started, I can do this. Okay, that's lined up. I mean, it's a lot easier if you kind of go in doing making this as long as you need it to start, but it's not impossible to continue the scoring. So that, and then we go 1/2 inch for another page, and then another 1/2 inch. 2.5 inches tall. This strip is 2.5 inches. So there's this. And then we got our gusset. And then the hinge for our slot. And that wraps around to our back cover. I think that should be plenty. So definitely easier to do when you don't have pages attached to it. But as you just saw, not impossible if you started, you weren't too sure, you know, you got it to this point and you're like, yeah, I think I want a couple more pages. It's not too late to make that call. Now, it will be too late once you like get your back cover on, if you've glued down, you know, your binding strip like this right here, even leaving that open is still expandable that way. And I'll talk through that in a bit. I'm just gonna try to burnish some of these as best I can. If you wanted to, let's say I wanted to attach from here, this would be what you would do if you needed 2 strips. Let's say you weren't this wasn't long enough for your album and you actually want to add even more to it. Well, what you would do is cut this or score until you're left with just like 1/2 inch. And I'll show you what I mean. So what you would do is you get the most out of whatever your strip, however much you got on your strip. And so I would say, you know, score as many of those, you know, 1/2 inch, like these hinges as you can. And then when you're down to the end and you only have like less than 1/2 inch, just start another accordion, you know, whatever style you're doing, whether it's with a gusset or not. And then you just glue these 2 strips together. And I do cover this in the masterclass. Just glue the 2 together and then you just keep going. But not with it looking like this. Only when this is down to like 1/2 inch or less. Okay? And then you just glue the 2 strips together and it'll continue that pattern. So I think that's where we're gonna leave it today. I'm gonna add a couple more page bases to this, and then tomorrow when we join back up, I will I'm not gonna add anything to the front of this, so I'll actually go ahead and glue this down to the front because I'm gonna put a chipboard cover on mine. So I'm just gonna liquid adhesive this and glue it down because we don't need that flapping around. and then we'll pick back up tomorrow. Let's make a date for tomorrow, same time, 2 p.m. and I'll have the next couple pages in. And tomorrow we'll start to decorate. We'll use some of these dies. We'll use the photo corner dies for sure. I will spend some time off camera to pick my papers because it takes me a long time to pick papers. So let me save us some live stream time and I'll do that in advance and figure out what I want to do there. And then we'll go from there. My guess is we'll probably need a 3rd stream to really finish it up. I'll do the cover. I think I need to do the cover last. It's really hard for me to do a cover midstream. Yeah, 2 p.m. Pacific. I don't have it scheduled yet, but I'm gonna schedule it. And once I'm done here, I'll go ahead and schedule it for tomorrow, and we'll just continue this. I think Biddy Penny told me that she's planning on live streaming tomorrow, 6 a.m. Central. So I'm not gonna be awake because I'm on Pacific time. But if I got that time correct, I hope you'll join her because she said that she's planning on crafting with this die set too. So if you're looking for more inspiration and maybe like a different take on the album, check out Biddy Penny's channel. Check out Letty, who is Party Planner Papery. She's also guest designing. And as well, Debbie Alley of Project 39 Albums is guest designing, and they've made some really beautiful inspiration pieces. They shared some videos today, so do check them out. And I hope to see you all tomorrow for the continuation of my 5x7 album. I like how this is coming together. I'm really appreciative of the nudge to do the gusset. I think that turned out better than I thought it would. But we're gonna hide all of that once once I get the covers on. All right, friends, have a great rest of your evening. If you're in sweltering heat like I am, stay cool, stay safe. Don't go outside if you're not advised to. All right, bye, everybody.